We got a call for a broken razor that is stuck in rattlesnake, and we're gonna go get it.
It is a beautiful morning. The rain stopped sometime in the night. We'll get them out.
When you think of YouTube heroes, Matt Wetzel from Matt's Off-Road Recovery probably comes to mind. The guy who built an empire pulling stuck vehicles out of Utah's most treacherous terrain, always with a smile and never asking for anything more than a simple thank you. But what if I told you that behind those feel-good rescue videos was a scandal that nearly destroyed everything he'd built? What happened to Matt wasn't just a simple mistake. It was a calculated scheme that would shock his millions of fans and land him in serious legal trouble. Matt didn't start as a YouTube sensation. Back in 2009, this former roofer bought a small towing operation in Hurricane, Utah, and had no idea he was about to revolutionize an entire industry. For years, he ran conventional roadside assistance, pulling cars out of ditches and jump-starting dead batteries like any other tow truck operator. Working the I-15 corridor with a fleet of trucks, Matt was just another face in the crowded towing business until he discovered something that would change his life forever. The game changer came when Matt learned about kinetic energy recovery ropes from friends in the off-road community. These weren't your typical tow straps, and they opened up a whole new world of rescues that traditional towing companies wouldn't touch. Matt realized he could help people stuck in places where conventional tow trucks couldn't even reach. The Utah desert became his playground, and every impossible rescue became a potential business opportunity. By 2018, Matt started filming these incredible recoveries and posting them online. His early videos showed rental cars being dragged over boulders, side-by-sides pulled from seemingly impossible situations, and the kind of rescues that would make seasoned recovery operators shake their heads in disbelief. The content was raw, authentic, and absolutely captivating. Viewers couldn't get enough of watching Matt and his colorful crew tackle challenges that seemed physically impossible. His YouTube channel exploded virtually overnight, transforming a simple towing business into a multimedia empire that would soon catch the attention of authorities. The Utah Insurance Fraud Division began investigating Matt's company, Winder Towing, after receiving suspicious reports about AAA claims in 2020. What they discovered during their year-long investigation was deeply disturbing. Between January 2019 and August 2020, Matt had allegedly submitted over $15,000 worth of fraudulent claims to AAA, claims for services that should never have been covered by the insurance company. The accusations were specific and damning. Investigators claimed Matt was charging AAA for off-road vehicle recoveries when the company explicitly doesn't cover anything beyond standard roadside assistance. Even more shocking, he allegedly manipulated customers into signing up for AAA memberships after completing tows, then backdated the claims to make everything appear legitimate. One particularly egregious case involved billing AAA for construction material deliveries that had absolutely nothing to do with vehicle recovery. The scheme was both brazen and systematic. According to charging documents, Matt would complete a recovery job, then advise customers to join AAA and wait a few days before filing claims for services that had already been performed. In one case, he allegedly charged $2,800 for 3 vehicles supposedly towed to Salt Lake City, but when investigators dug deeper, they found the vehicles were never actually moved. The whole thing was an elaborate ruse to get materials delivered while using AAA's funds as payment. But Matt had no idea that his biggest mistake was yet to come. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Investigators didn't just rely on paperwork and witness statements to build their case. They turned to an unexpected source of evidence: Matt's own YouTube videos. Frame by frame, investigators combed through his content, using the very platform that made him famous as ammunition against him. One particular video allegedly showed him recovering a Polaris RZR that was later billed to AAA under a friend's account, despite AAA explicitly not covering off-road vehicles. The irony was brutal and almost poetic. Every recovery Matt proudly showcased online, every triumph he celebrated with his audience, became potential evidence of criminal behavior. His YouTube success had created a detailed digital record of his activities, and prosecutors were methodically cross-referencing his videos with suspicious insurance claims. Matt had unknowingly filmed his own evidence, documenting potential crimes while building his brand. Insurance fraud investigators watched hours of content, identifying specific vehicles, locations, and dates that aligned with questionable AAA claims. The man who'd built his reputation on transparency and helping others had inadvertently created the most comprehensive case file any prosecutor could hope for. His greatest strength, documenting every rescue, had become his greatest weakness. The very content that generated hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue was now being used to potentially send him to prison. When the authorities finally moved in December 2021, they hit hard. Matt was charged with second-degree felony insurance fraud, facing potential prison time that could have ended his career permanently and destroyed everything he'd built. The charges detailed specific instances where he allegedly told customers to manipulate the system, turning what should have been straightforward business transactions into elaborate schemes to defraud AAA. The legal documents painted a picture of systematic deception spanning nearly 2 years. Prosecutors claimed Matt had turned his legitimate towing business into a vehicle for insurance fraud, exploiting AAA's trust and his customers' desperation. The charging documents detailed multiple instances of what investigators called material misrepresentations, fancy legal language for outright lies told to insurance companies. The charges sent shockwaves through the off-road community. Here was someone they'd trusted, someone who'd built his brand on helping stranded motorists, now accused of exploiting the very system designed to help people in need. The man who'd become famous for saying no charge to grateful customers was now accused of secretly billing insurance companies for services they shouldn't have covered. The contrast between his public persona and the allegations couldn't have been starker. With his arraignment scheduled and potential prison time looming, Matt faced the most crucial decision of his life. The second-degree felony charges carried serious consequences that could have meant years behind bars and the complete destruction of his reputation and business empire. Facing the possibility of losing everything, Matt made a strategic decision that would forever change how people viewed the YouTube hero. Rather than fight the charges in court and risk a conviction that could have sent him to prison, he accepted a plea deal with prosecutors. He pleaded no contest to a reduced Class A misdemeanor charge, agreeing to 18 months of probation and paying back every penny he'd allegedly taken. The financial penalties were substantial: $15,328 in restitution to AAA plus an additional $1,145 fine to Utah's Insurance Fraud Division. His attorney tried to minimize the damage, claiming these were merely technical violations, and that Matt's behavior was consistent with how AAA typically operated. But the damage to his reputation was already done. The man who'd built his brand on integrity had admitted guilt to defrauding an insurance company, even if only to avoid harsher consequences. The plea deal allowed Matt to avoid prison time, but it came with conditions that would follow him for months. 18 months of probation meant regular check-ins, potential restrictions on his business activities, and the constant reminder that one mistake could send him to jail. For someone who'd built his life around freedom and adventure, the legal constraints represented a fundamental change in how he'd have to operate. The aftermath of Matt's legal troubles was swift and unforgiving. News of the insurance fraud charges spread rapidly through the off-road community and among his YouTube fanbase, creating a divide that persists to this day. Some loyal supporters stood by him, arguing that insurance companies routinely deny legitimate claims and cheat customers, so why shouldn't it work both ways? They viewed Matt as someone who'd simply gotten caught playing the same game that corporations play every day. But many others felt deeply betrayed by someone they'd trusted to always do the right thing. The man who'd built his brand on helping others without expecting anything in return had admitted to manipulating the very system designed to help stranded motorists. Comment sections filled with heated debates between defenders and critics, with some fans feeling like they'd been lied to for years. Industry relationships suffered as well. Questions arose about whether other recovery operators might be engaging in similar practices, casting suspicion over an entire sector that had largely operated on trust and handshake agreements. The scandal forced many in the towing and recovery industry to examine their own billing practices and relationship with insurance companies. Matt's case became a cautionary tale about the temptations that come with rapid business growth and the importance of maintaining ethical standards even when opportunities for easy money present themselves. Some recovery professionals distanced themselves from Matt, worried that association with him could damage their own reputations and business relationships. Despite the legal troubles and reputational damage, Matt's off-road recovery has not only survived but continued to thrive in ways that surprised many observers. The channel now boasts over 1.9 million subscribers and continues posting regular content 3 times per week, suggesting that many fans either forgave him or never learned about the scandal in the first place. His view counts remain strong and his off-road games events continue to draw massive crowds to southern Utah. Matt has largely kept quiet about the insurance fraud case, choosing instead to focus on the recovery work that made him famous. His business model has evolved beyond just towing and YouTube revenue. He now sells merchandise, hosts events, and has expanded into multiple revenue streams that don't rely on insurance company relationships. The Heavy Wrecker, his massive custom recovery vehicle that he controversially calls the world's largest, continues to be featured prominently in videos, generating the kind of engagement that keeps advertisers happy. Perhaps most tellingly, Matt's legal troubles seem to have had little impact on his ability to help people. His comment sections are still filled with grateful customers sharing stories of how Matt and his crew rescued them from impossible situations. The fundamental appeal of his content, watching skilled professionals solve complex problems with creativity and determination, remains as compelling as ever. Whether you view him as a reformed entrepreneur who learned from his mistakes or someone who simply got caught remains a matter of personal perspective,